Hello, everyone. I'm Marilyn, the PNW High Priestess, and I am sitting in my beautiful sacred space at the Old Tree Metaphysical Shop. Where in the hell are you, Miss Runa?
I am also in my sacred space at my new property we have dubbed Villa Westwick.
Beautiful. I can't wait to see it. We wanted to welcome all of you to our Witchy Wednesday and know that we are winging it completely. And, and this is Country Dwellers' new season. We're in season 3 now.
That's right. Finally resurrected from the ashes and rebirthed on Witch Wednesday.
Like the beautiful phoenixes we are.
That's why I wear orange. Orange for Leo fire season. And I got my sun amulet on too.
Oh, nice. And if you all haven't noticed, we are doing things a little bit differently this year. Virtual. Um, Not only are we taking it via video, that these videos will be posted onto our YouTube channel and uploaded into IGTV, but we are also uploading the audio into our Spotify and Anchor podcast platform. And we are on so many different platforms via podcast. I can't remember exactly. It's Spotify, it's Anchor, it's I think it's Google Podcasts or Google Music or something like that. Anyway, I'll have the list because I'm making a new logo thing for our Facebook page. So we'll update all of that for all of you. But anyway, welcome.
Merry meet.
Merry meet. I want to catch up with you, Miss Runa. I want to find out what's been going on. I ran across a Facebook post that I made 2 years ago when I was sitting on that sailboat in your harbor in Ballard. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that this has been freaking 2 years already. It's insane. So basically, since then, you and your beautiful Viking have left that area, docked your boat, and got a RV and went around all over the place. And now you're settled back into a physical space. Yeah. So let's talk about those journeys.
Mm-hmm. Well, we just decided, the universe said, you can't just untie the lines and go. Our connections to family and responsibilities to family required a shift in what the dream of traveling looked like. Mm-hmm. And so we first of all, part of what was supposed to happen with my husband having non-location dependent income didn't come to fruition after we sold the house. Right. And we were basically living illegally on our boat, and he was going to the office every day. And I was like, I can't do this. But we also made a promise to his dad that if he had got his hip surgery, we would take him to spring training in Arizona. Mm. And so to do that, we bought an RV to travel down the West Coast and into Arizona, the greater Phoenix area, and take him for a week of spring training. Mm-hmm. And the Vikings shield maiden sister met us down there, and it was quite the adventure.
Nice.
The adventure in quotation marks. But once we had the RV, we recognized that that was going to give us an opportunity to follow our youngest's college football career, because he, said, you're selling the house, you're doing all of this stuff. Okay, fine. But I really want you there to support me in this dream, because he's really dreaming of going pro. Mm-hmm. So what happened was we focused energies on finding the Viking non-location dependent income, which we did. And it happened that we were in Arizona when the interview and the job acceptance came up. And he basically gave notice while he was on vacation with his old job. And we drove to his training in Texas and spent a couple of weeks there. And then drove back up to Washington afterwards, and put the rig in storage and got on the boat because now he could work for whatever. And we took the boat all the way down south in the Sound to the Olympia area, and then took the summer and just cruised all the way north through the Salish Sea and through the San Juan Islands, and then docked her for the fall. And we took the RV and went up to Canada, and was following our youngest's adventures in football, and he was injured in the very first game at Portland State.
I remember that.
And had to have knee surgery after 9 weeks of trying to heal it conservatively and whatnot. So he ended up redshirting yet another season. And once his surgery was done and the holidays were done, we got back in the RV, and we're going to head south for the winter because why not?
Exactly. Exactly.
So we spent from January 9th through when did we get back in town? Like the 15th of April, being, on the road. And we, visited national parks and San Diego, and fell in love with Ventura, and we'll probably end up retiring there one day. But then coronavirus hit.
Yeah.
And being in a 26-foot RV and not having the space to just go outside and be safe, because we can be out and boondock for about a week's time, but then we have to come back to society. We have to reprovision. We have to dump our tanks. We have to fill up with water.
Right.
And it just felt like it wasn't the right time to be traveling. Also, when we docked the boat last September, she had a major problem that we have been working on trying to fix.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the charging system is all kind of messed up, which means being anchored out for more than 24 hours is a problem.
So the battery will die and stuff. So now it comes down to electrical. That's not good.
No. So, and we were fixing it. We're really close to having it fixed, but we're juggling, we realized when we got back to the Seattle area in the middle of April that this pandemic was not going to be over in 6 weeks or whatever, as we've all learned. And so we decided that the smart and safe thing to do, because we can't even go to Canada and see our son. We can't go down to California and see our daughter. We've seen our other children who live locally here, but it's really weird, masks, and because we live in different households and we're exposed to different people. I mean, I'm a shopper right now, helping people, mostly disabled people and older people, get groceries. People who are super vulnerable and can't go to the store themselves, shouldn't go to the store themselves because it exposes a risk. And so, it's really weird, but we wanted to have a place where we could store the RV and not have to pay for it. We could be near the boat to work on her. And so that's what we've been doing. We're trying to create this space so that it provides some passive income for us when this pandemic is finally over. Yeah. And we always have a base of operations. We were looking and looking and looking. I mean, we started looking when we were still in Needles. Our real estate agent was so fabulous, and he was like giving us virtual tours of places and stuff. And it took a long time to kind of figure out really what we wanted and what was going to work, and where, location is everything when it comes to real estate.
Especially if you're trying to be close to your boat, you're trying to be close to your son, you're trying to be somewhat close to the city in case Viking has to go in. So, I mean, yes, that's a lot of.
We kind of triangulated things between family, the boat,
Right.
and being closer near a metropolitan area,
Yes.
but still kind of being out in the boonies, because I've been a solitary for so long, and I need a little space.
Right. And not only that, being out in the boonies, you don't have to worry about fucking HOA, you know? Fucking HOA. I'm not a fan. Anyway.
We found this villa. It's just under 2 acres, and it's got fruit trees and berry bushes and a big barn and plenty of space for anything and everything that we could create it to be to support.
I'm so excited to come and see it when all this stuff is over.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully it'll look a lot better when you get here. I mean, it's a beautiful property, but they did things very conventionally, and I am very much of the mindset that you need to heal the earth, and a lot of conventional farming and growing methods in America are detrimental actually to the plant.
They're not so based on healing the earth, they're based on income, So.
Well, and yeah. So we had a lot of trash we had to pick up. The soil has not been amended for years. Although sections of the property have very fertile soil. It's very far away from the house and water sources, so it doesn't make sense why that area is where they chose to, create a very large garden and amend the soil slightly.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that's what we're doing. We've got a base of operations. We're hunkering down here. We're working on the boat, so she's ready to go. I'm hoping, the hubby has been a contractor for many years now with this non-location dependent, and he finally has vacation. So we're hoping to take a fishing vacation and just get out into the Salish.
Like a real vacation. Like a real vacation.
Yes, like a real vacation. Yeah. And we're really fortunate, and we feel really blessed that we have the boat, and we would be able to do that, but it's not traveling. It's, our plan before coronavirus was we were going to spend this summer moving north and hopefully dock the boat for the season, probably in like the Squamish, either on Vancouver Island or like on the mainland Squamish area of Canada for the winter. Right. And then the football season, and then go south again and explore the Southwest United States even further, because we didn't get to all the places we wanted to see in the RV for the winter. Right. And then get back on the boat in the springtime and keep moving north to the Inside Passage of Alaska. But that's on hold because we can't cross the border.
Right.
And our boat is not in a place, like there's people who are crossing from like Portugal to the Azores and then across the Atlantic and things like that. And that's happening, or they can go from Canada over to Europe. Mm-hmm. We are not able to do that. We're on the wrong side of the world right now for places that we could potentially take the sailboat. And it wasn't in our plans. So sometimes the universe says, and that's what I think she's doing. She's
what I completely
pissed off. And she said, humans, I've been trying to tell you to take better care of me. And she put us in timeout. So
I completely agree. I completely agree. It is how people are, some people are really utilizing this time out and, you know, really learning different ways to live off the grid, you know, or at least to give back to Mother Earth and acknowledging how Earth is healing since we are not destroying her on a daily basis as much. You know what I'm saying? So some people are really acknowledging the changes and the difference and the positive aspects we can put into the earth to help her
Yeah.
heal. Other people, not so much, you know? So it's, I just keep putting vibes out there like, look, man, I know that this is shit. It's
Oh,
horrible to have this pandemic and all of these people dying and you know
mhm.
being afraid to see my I can't even go see my dad, you know, like being afraid to
I know.
travel,
Yeah.
you know, and then having you know, a immunocompromised kid, you know, it's hard, right? But in the same token, I'm trying to make the best out of it and I'm treating it almost like a retrograde. Like this is my time to redo.
Absolutely.
This is my time to investigate. This is my time to rethink. You know what I mean? And this year I've really used this time as a rebirthing time for myself. And it's been quite beneficial. Like I'm not the same person that I used to be, which you know, is great. so, so
Yeah,
in
and that's kind of what we're looking at too. I mean, we have very economically acquired a couple of water tanks. We're
good.
going to and rain barrels, and we're going to be collecting water, and we're looking at solar for this property. Everything
You've
to
always been really good at that, living off the land, you
Mhm.
know, and like your hashtag was always grow food, not lawns. Is that what it was?
Mhm.
And you know what? I will tell you, so many people are doing that these days because I fully
Good.
believe that that's one acknowledgement people have made is that this pandemic has the ability to shut this fucking world down. I mean, it has the ability. Where's our food coming from now? What
Mhm.
processes is it going through? All of
Right.
those different things. These seeds that people are trying to buy these days, they've skyrocketed now because you know,
I know.
Big Brother really doesn't want us growing our own food. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think this pandemic has really helped people understand that yes, we are in late stage capitalism and our supply chain that we
Yeah,
rely on is not as robust and able to shift as
correct,
quickly as people expected it to.
correct.
I
I
mean,
mean,
if you
the
look
thing,
back at the last time uh, our nation had to endure a pandemic, right? You know, towards the end of World War One, companies and manufacturing agents were able to shift and create things, and we did it again in World War Two.
Mhm.
All of a sudden now we're so profit based and so about the bottom line that we've forgotten about the human element, and it's been a big wake up call.
I don't
And
think it's just that. I agree with you. Yes, those are some, but I don't think it's just that. I think that everything is so automated these days too. People have forgotten how to use their hands to do this hard work. You know what I'm saying? Like how to actually put stuff together and make things because everything's automated anymore. You know?
yeah, how do you grow something from seed
Exactly.
and do it without a lot of resources and then preserve it? You have to preserve it, right?
Yes.
I
Yes.
have, I have been canning my ass off. My
Good.
life,
I know.
all
I've seen some of your stock building. I'm quite impressed. Love it. Um, I think that that is definitely one of the things that people have acknowledged is this thing has the capability of shutting everything down. What are we going to do for food? What are we going to do
right.
for milk? What are we going to do for eggs? What are we going to do for these things that we
Yeah.
need? You know what I'm saying? So I have noticed
Towels,
people,
dripping toilet paper.
right, and I've noticed people really taking initiative to research different options. of things.
Right.
Okay, how do I grow this? What part of my lawn shall I rip up so I can grow this garden? Is this
Mhm.
HOA approved? I'm going to answer that no. HOA wouldn't even allow me to just grow wildflowers in my front yard for the bees. I just love them.
I have never owned property with an HOA. Somebody is not going to tell me what I can and can't do with the land, because I already know that I'm going to treat it better than any suburban HOA is going to.
But before, I don't think as many people acknowledge that kind of thing. Now I think more people are. And I can tell you that more people are acknowledging it, but there are some that choose not to acknowledge it still. But those are the ones where, God bless them, they've never had to walk the hard road of life. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna put any bad feelers out there. You know what? You are blessed, and I wish blessings upon you. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
at least have compassion for those that are walking that hard road. That's one thing that I feel is out of this is the most important thing that we take is the ability to be compassionate to one another, even though we hugely disagree on things. I mean, there is a tear. There is a tear in this world now. And it's almost like, okay, it's so frayed. Can we even mend it? But I think the only thing that we can do to help it heal is acknowledge that to love is a choice. To be compassionate is a choice. Let's make it a choice, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it
Yeah.
scares me that so many these days are choosing, even though they know that this is a choice, they're choosing not to make it. And it scares me to death, to be quite honest with you.
Well, just use that fear and use that energy to put it into positive stuff to
Right,
build your resiliency.
and that's exactly what I'm doing.
I spent most of April and May just grieving the fact that we knew our life had to drastically change after we were just getting into our stride. Like we had adjusted from living, in sticks and bricks, and then, being more mobile and nomadic and still, being close with our family and everything like that. And in June, we were here. We'd only been here for like 2 weeks. And I posted on Instagram, I think it was like the 17th of June. I just said that I recognized that the message that I was getting was to bloom where I was planted and
Right.
to work on healing the planet and healing myself. And so that's been my focus since we got here to Villa Westwick is I am just gonna do the best that I can. I'm gonna bloom. I'm gonna try to
That's it, babe. That's it.
be productive however I can. I'm not gonna beat myself up if I have a day where
You have to rest.
you gotta rest. You do have to rest. Like, it's okay. Like, I think there's so many people in the pagan community, especially, where we're like, I gotta do this, and I gotta do this, and I gotta do this, and I gotta do this. You are human, and you can only do so much in one day, and you must give yourself that rest. And that rest is part of the cycle so that you can bloom, and so you can be productive.
It is. And you know what? I love that you're taking that step because that's exactly what should be happening right now. Right now, we should be researching more ways to give back to our Mother Earth. We should be researching more ways to keep ourselves healthy. And that means, what are we putting into our bodies?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? What are we letting into our bodies? I mean, we need to start really acknowledging that. And it's just, the world's never going to be the same. It's never
Mm-hmm.
going to be the same after this. But you know what? That's not a bad thing.
Better.
It's not a bad thing. I mean, if we allow ourselves to flow and transform together and change together, built on a foundation of love and healing, what an amazing world we could create, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
We'll see
Yeah.
how that goes down.
You can only control what you can control. I can only control my own actions, my own reactions, and that's it. I mean,
Babe.
impermanent,
It-
So
And it's almost like when you acknowledge that, it's almost like a weight is lifted off your shoulders because you realize that you don't have to carry the anger of the world with you. And when you do, it's almost overwhelming because you're so deep in the hole that you don't know how to get out and, heal that anger. You know what I mean? But if you
Yeah.
acknowledge it and you concentrate on yourself, you're actually looking at it from a different point of view, and you can say, oh, you know what? Okay, I can help the world by doing this instead of carrying the anger and the hurt and the frustration of it on me, you know? So let's talk about you've traveled all over the place. COVID has basically, kept you at your house, but you're making the best of it,
Yep.
unpacking, getting everything organized, working your land, which I know you love so very, very much. And that land is definitely blooming for you. All the
No,
peaches and
I
everything.
work land because it always gives back to me. I
Right.
mean, it's, I take care of it and it takes care of me.
Exactly. Exactly. So what do you have? You got peaches. I've seen those. You have apples, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
You have berries of some sort. Yeah.
Raspberries and black currants, and we have cherry trees, apple trees, pear trees, fig.
Oh my God.
Um, and but they need a little TLC. Nature is marvelous. It is absolutely miraculous. And these poor creatures have not been cared for well. They were planted in not necessarily the best location. They don't have buddies with them, and they really should.
Mhm.
And so the fact that they are producing for us under these circumstances is just amazing. And I thank, when we harvested the peaches, I was like, I'm going to take care of you, peach tree. You're going to get some buddies here to provide some dynamic um, amendment to your soil and some nitrogen fixing, and you're gonna be okay. So and I think that they kind of understood that when we got here, because like the raspberry bushes were completely encased in weeds
Oh,
and overgrown and not taken care of, and the berries, I couldn't keep up. I couldn't harvest fast enough because they were already producing when we moved in, and I was still, up to my eyeballs in boxes, um, and trying to figure out, okay, how do I create a desk to sit at and work? How do we get a desk for the Viking, because that's critical.
yeah.
How do we get a flipping bed? We didn't have a bed. And so we spent the time waiting for the closing and everything to say, okay, well, we'll order a mattress. We can at least sleep on the floor for the first couple of weeks. And we did, which at our age, I'm a crone. I'm like, literally
Girl.
days away from official cronedom.
That's
And it's not easy to do that anymore.
no, that shit's hard. I mean, I sleep on a regular fucking bed, and some mornings I can't get out of bed. So yes, I feel you. Sometimes I can't get up off the floor when I'm. So yeah, I feel you.
Yeah. So yeah, but the land has been really, really good. There's an outbuilding here we're going to turn into a cottage
Love it.
and be able to rent it out either to a caretaker or what have you, and or have a guest house. And eventually we'll get chickens and ducks, and my
Good.
husband is talking about getting a couple of um, not pigs, they're special kind of pigs, and they're kind of like goats.
Yeah,
They
they eat everything for
they
you.
eat everything. They get all rid of all the crap, and then amend the soil with their manure and that, and
Right.
then harvest them. And so we're looking at that. We'll probably get a couple of nanny goats and get milk and make cheese. Because
Nice.
guess what? I really think we're gonna be here for several years. And then it's gonna take us a while to get back into that rhythm of travel life. We had just hit our stride.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I'm gonna enjoy doing what I can and living this life.
Exactly. Well, good for you. It sounds like the prior owners, the land just became overwhelming for them. You
Yeah,
know.
they had 6 children. and ran their own business.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, they had a lot on their
That's
plate.
a lot, man. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Bless
And
them
if
with the 6
you
kids.
don't make the land a part of your business, it's really hard.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. For sure.
speaking of business, what business do you have
Uh,
going?
I have, oh, and by the way, before we start talking about me, anything that Runa makes or finds in these boxes that she is rehoming can be found on our Country Dwellers swap meet page. And if it's not specifically listed on there, she'll have a link to where the original listing will be. So
Mm-hmm.
I think you're gonna be making the beard balm again, yeah?
Making
Which is always a big seller for you.
beard balm and lip balm and herbal mixes and sage sticks and all of those things.
Beautiful.
And then I have a bunch of stuff that I find are magically found, and I've done something to them. Either I've created a piece of jewelry or a piece of decor or some kind of altar piece, and it's up in my magical flea market. So
good, very good. Of which she will put the link on Country Dweller swap page.
yes, I'm sorry, I forgot.
But
I'm a little busy.
whatever. So now let's talk about me.
Yes.
Because the whole world revolves around me. In case.
Yes, Virgo.
Let's see. What have I been doing? Okay, so during this time.
Growing your hair super, super long.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's been over a year since I've got a haircut, and it definitely needs a trim for sure. I mean, when I'm sitting on the toilet and I gotta make sure I do this, then when I'm taking a shower and there's a little extra floss, I gotta make sure that I put that shit up. I'm saying. So it's amazing. I love my hair. I absolutely love it. In the same token, she definitely needs a trim. She has her own personality,
Mine does too.
Right? Right?
I've always had what my family termed witchy hair.
Yes.
And now in my crone phase with my gray and everything,
I really like the silver. So
I don't mind it. I struggled with it initially, but my hair is so much healthier if I don't put stuff on it.
Right?
So.
Right? Exactly. I've got tons of silvers in here, and I love every one of them. I'm like, keep growing. I really see it when I put my hair back.
Child number 1. This is child number 2. This is my community.
Please, let's not even get started on the children. So, things that I have been doing. I've really been trying to spend more time outside, really trying to take in that earthing aspect and I'm always grateful for earth, but I'm really being more aware of what I put into the earth and how I'm giving back to the earth and things like that. I have built up my Path of the Moon courses, and now I've got 2 groups running, and at Samhain I'm going to be starting a 3rd group. So yeah, and taking the first group up into level 1. So I'm very excited about the tradition. It's really, really growing, and I'm so blessed with my amazing students. They're all just fantastic, and they're all so eager to dive in and learn and give back to Mother Earth and, check into the moon phases, and not only give back, but check into themselves. They're also gung-ho to carry that self-awareness, and really figure out who they are, which is an absolute blessing. So, I've been writing curriculum, writing syllabus, things. It's gotten me, and I mean, I'm organized anyway. I love organization, but it's really, to do those types of things has really put a lot of things in perspective for me. Has made me acknowledge how many things I had going on in my mind because I had to round them all up and put them on this organized, list, which
Right.
which is great. I'm so happy I did it. And now I'm finding that I'm utilizing computer programs that I didn't utilize before. I always told myself, oh, I need to make this, or oh, I need to put this there. And now instead of saying I need to, I just do it. I
Mm-hmm.
take the time and I do it. And if
Right.
I don't get it done that day, I do it the next day. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? There's no more, I've decided that there's no more, oh, I'll do that later. You know, sometimes you don't have the time, and I totally feel that, but I try and make that time so I'm not building up my to-do list, so I'm hitting at least 1 to 2 things a day of the every day of the month and getting some things done off my to-do list,
I remember when I was teaching writing and arts and literature, and students would come to me and say, how do I do this and how do I do that? And I'm like, well, what's your barrier? Right. And well, I have to do this and I have to do this and I have to do that. And I said, well, it's just like everything else. You have to make the time to do it.
Exactly.
And if you don't take that step, then it's not really that important to you.
Right. And that's one of the things that I told myself. I'm like, you know what? I have this 5 fucking page to-do list, front and back, of shit that I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm putting it off because I'm scrolling for 2 hours on fucking Facebook. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And so I was like, enough. That's enough of this shit. If I actually want to progress, not just in my business, but in my personal life and my spiritual awareness, I need to get this stuff off my to-do list, because for me, one of my favorite things is taking a book outside and reading. And
Right.
it's not like fantasy, it's educational stuff. So if I continuously want to increase my spiritual awareness and education, I've got to get these to-dos done, because if I don't, I can't, as a Virgo, cannot relax out there and read my book. So I've been doing a lot of class planning. I have been really working on my marketing skills, and diving deeper into how to best utilize Facebook, Instagram, all the different artsy programs that I use, those kind of things. Um, I've been hanging out with the little monkeys, which has been an absolute blessing. I'm so excited for that. And to be quite honest, with them going to school all online, I'm happy. I'm happy. Not only do I know that they're safer, but I know that I can be there every day to help guide them through their lessons, meaning they get one-on-one attention for their education every freaking day, you know, which lasted during the spring. They really progressed with that
That's
one-on-one. Yeah. So that's what I am going to be doing this fall. The one thing that I also, well, not one thing, but one of the things that I also realized is I started doing the bullet journaling. And I gotta tell you, the bullet journaling has put my ass in fucking line. It has put my ass in line. It makes me accountable. There's something about it. I know it's like drinking the Kool-Aid because everybody's doing the bullet journaling. There's something about it that keeps me in line.
if that process is something that's successful for you.
Right? So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna keep doing you. So I've had to learn, stop scheduling so much in one day. Stop
Yeah.
putting 15 to-dos in one day. Handle 2 or 3. That way they're off your plate, completely done. You know?
Right.
And so that was a huge lesson for me. Draw
Mhm.
boundaries. Draw your boundaries. You know what? I'm
I've been chunking time
good.
for decades,
I know.
honestly,
I
and
know.
understanding the rhythms of me
Yeah.
and when I'm best to do physical work and
Yeah.
when I'm best to do, mental work
Right.
or organization and everything like that. I've been doing that for years. And I know that once about 4:30, see how I did normal time. I didn't say 16:30.
Thank you.
I had to think about it though. Once about 4:30 hits, I'm done. There is very few things that I can get done. So I have, those are the times where I play with my dog
Right.
and I sit outside and I read, because as a writer and a creator, reading is absolutely imperative to my progression in what I want to do.
Exactly.
As a spiritual being and as a income producing being.
Right. So
Yeah.
I have learned to draw my boundaries, and one of those boundaries has to be me. And it has to be me saying, you know what? That's not on my schedule today. I'm sorry. On my
Yeah.
schedule, however, is me sitting outside and getting in touch with earth and
Yeah.
feeling that heartbeat and connecting. That's on my schedule.
Yeah.
You and your needs right now, I'm sorry, is not on my schedule. You know what I mean? But you know me, and boundaries were very, very hard for me to draw, especially when it came down to either choosing self time or helping somebody that I care about. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this too about setting boundaries. Have you found it very curious that when you do set boundaries, the people you most need to set boundaries about,
They disappear.
they bitch the loudest at first, but then all of a sudden they just fade away.
Yeah, exactly, because you're not giving your all to them anymore.
Yeah.
And not only that, I have noticed that, you know, I have certain people that I really care about and very good friends. And I've noticed that, during this very hard time, sometimes they will contact me and be like, hey, what's going on astrologically, or what's going on in the cards, things like that. And it used to be that I'd send them like this entire write up of what's going on. I had to put a stop to that because I love you and I care about you. But in the same token, I've got customers over here. I've got clients waiting for their
Yes.
write-up, waiting for their chart, waiting for all of this. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to have to put you over here for a minute. And so
Yeah.
that's another boundary that I had to draw. But I would say the biggest lesson that I have learned is making that time for me. And it is hugely important. And
Yeah.
I was very awful at it before, but I'm not awful at it anymore. And yes, to you, I have found that some of those friends that I do things for, without charging, just you have a question I care about you, I'm going to help you answer, have dwindled for sure because I put those boundaries down, you know? So,
Yeah, I'm happy to like talk to you about, holy shit, this
right,
was so intense, or I had a
right.
dream, but I'm not going to be like, hey, can you do this for me? And
100% exactly, so I had to put those boundaries down, and I really consider that they're healthy boundaries. So I would say the one thing that I've really been focusing on doing during this entire pandemic is, transforming myself, working
mm,
on self transformation and self acknowledgement and responsibility. And all of those different amazing avenues that you walk down when you finally go into that rabbit hole. And
mhm.
so that's what I've been doing. Not only my classes, I've been making sprays. I've been going around doing house cleansing and things like that with hallowed
So
smoke.
cool that you're doing that. I love that. I
You know,
love
I think that if I could do it all over the world, I would. If I could make a smoke cloud big enough to go around the world, I would. So, as a matter of fact, sometimes when I do it just for myself in my backyard, I imagine that smoke just going up into the ether and just wrapping around our planet, and hopefully moving into everyone's hearts so we can all change for the better.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Or at least acknowledge ourselves and what we're putting out into the universe.
Mm-hmm.
you know
Mm-hmm.
that's the beginning of change, right? So I've been working on my products. I've been taking things off of my website that services off my website that no longer feed my soul. even though it would be beneficial for me to still have them on there and have them as a service, they don't make me happy anymore.
Right.
You know, and if they're not making me happy, I can't give you my all when I'm
Mhm.
doing that service because the magic just isn't completely there. You
I
know,
feel that's why I stopped doing web design for people. Because
right?
it,
So
it was so much headache.
it became work. It
Yeah.
became work. And once it becomes work, instead of a magical part of you coming out as fun, as play, as joy, it's no longer, you know, you start building up resentment towards it. And that's not okay because then when I practice it, I'm freaking putting that into people. And that's not okay. There's enough of that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I've been cleaning up a lot of my services on my website, and I've been creating um, a lot of different classes regarding ascension, regarding really checking in with our soul selves, our spiritual selves, our
Mhm.
energetic selves. So a lot of classes regarding chakra work, things, and I mean deep diving, not, oh, this is the color, this is the sound, this is the asana, you know, this is the no, I mean fucking deep shit. You know what I'm saying? Like we're getting in it, you know, and you're gonna feel that chakra. You know what I mean? So because
Love it.
I think it's an essential part of not only connecting with Earth, but connecting with universe in itself to realize that universe is inside of us. We are universe. Universe is us.
Yeah.
Period. You know, which is why the path of the moon tradition is I call it a universal tradition. And
Hmm.
one of the main things that I hope my students gain out of it is the fact that we are all energy and all energy infuses. We are all one, period. We're one with a stone, we're one with a tree, we're one with a pebble of sand. Like we are all one.
Hmm.
Everything's alive, everything has energy. Treat it as such,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Um, other than that, I am looking at my I'm very being very good at this and I'm being very honest with myself, looking at my schedule a little bit further and realizing, okay, school's going to be starting. I
Hmm.
need to schedule that in so that way I'm not like, oh my God, I have 15 things to do today, but I'm up here teaching you. You know what I'm saying? I am choosing to say, you know what? I am happily teaching you guys today. Like we are learning together, and this is the time to time that we are doing it. And then afterwards, it's mom's time. I have a business to run. I have
Right.
work to do. I need to spend time for myself,
Hmm.
you know. So it is it's been a humongous transformation, um but I have to say that I have been thankful for the hermit time, the gift of hermitness that I've received, not thankful for what it's doing to the world.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But unfortunately sometimes shit really has to fucking happen for people to open their eyes,
Mm.
you know. And just I just send loving, caring, healing vibes to all of those that have passed and all of those that have lost their loved ones, for
Yeah.
sure, to this, you know, and to all of this unrest in the whole world regarding people of color, you know, and politics, which I hope we never talk about on this podcast, please. Ever.
No, no, I just, as far as looking astrologically, um, I really, really dug the witches copies on Tuesday and learning from Painted Goddess,
Thank you. Thank you.
um, and understanding kind of how, um, the rest of the universe impacts us,
Oh,
and to understand the political unrest right now and how what's going on with the planets and all of that. I mean, that makes so much sense to me, and I'm not ready to dive in super deep with astrology because
I love it. I absolutely love it.
I'm so enjoying that and learning from Jen, and it's been great.
But
It's
you
been
learn from me too. I'm on that fucking chat. You know what I'm saying?
I just
So it is, I love our Tuesday coffee chats. It's really, really fun. And she is such a dear friend. And I love her astrological lab. And I was into astrology prior, but I knew the basics. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I only have the basics, and I only have the basics for myself. To
right.
look at it beyond the self and the
Correct.
larger planet
To look
and
at it
incarnation,
universally.
that's amazing stuff to me.
Oh yeah, to look at it universally. And the one thing about astrology is it is a lifelong lesson. It's not something that you learn over 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. The planets are always moving. There are always planetary aspects coming in. There's always newness taking place. You know what I'm saying? You're always learning something new. So it's an art that you will never perfect, and that's the absolute beauty of it. And that's one of the reasons I love astrology so much. The basics were great because I would put them into my tarot readings. But now, since dove in even deeper, I can add different aspects. Divin,
Right.
dove in, I don't know, dived. That just doesn't sound right to me. Dived.
Dive.
Yes. So anyway, so that's what I did. And now I can put even more deeper meaning into the tarot readings, especially when somebody sits down in front of you and you're like, oh, okay, this is the energy. I'm seeing Leo energy from you, or I'm seeing secretive Scorpio energy from you. I mean, things like that. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
it is definitely a different aspect, and
I don't call it secretive Scorpio energy.
oh, you don't, but that's because you're Scorpio.
I'm private. I'm a very private person.
I
I
know.
didn't always think that about myself. I thought I was quite an open book, but as I've gotten older, I recognize, oh yeah, I'm just very private.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely hold things close to the shield for sure, for sure.
Hmm.
But
Well,
I,
there's a reason for that, but we won't get into that now.
you know, the thing is though, yes, being vulnerable is absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. You're letting that side of you come and show. But in the same token, um, I also respect the people that they do hold things very close. I
Hmm.
know why, because you've been fucked over. You know what I mean? But it also allows me to do the work to get to know you instead of you burying it all. I'm actually doing work to get to know you and not figure you out, but um, defining that piece of puzzle that you are into the whole aspect of this universal space. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So it's kind of a gift to actually be able to um, learn somebody, to learn somebody. And not only that, the more I know you, the more you open up,
Mm.
and it's a trust factor. I get it. I get it. Yes, let's talk about the new moon energy.
Oh, the black moon, you mean?
Yes. New moon, black moon.
Which I confused you with this morning. You're like, yeah, the new moon is always black. I'm like, no, this was a special moon.
Yeah, I'm like, new moon you hardly ever really see. What the fuck are you talking about? And then I remembered I had that post on my Facebook like a month ago. And then once I put it out there, it's not in here anymore.
Yeah. So the black moon, which this new moon, is just a much more powerful new moon. And we don't have to dive super deep into it. I'm sure that a lot of the people listening or watching right now absolutely understand. They're feeling it. They're feeling it. I mean, my dream last night was so intense that I have a dream hangover right now. And but you gotta be ready to use this energy wisely.
I mean, with Neptune, Pluto, Saturn, all of those planets having
I'm so glad Saturn's in retrograde. It's having such a nice effect on me.
all those planets are having an effect on everybody. They're having an effect on the world. Venus, I mean, it's all coming into play, you know. And so this moon bringing about the energies of transformation, the energies not only of newness due to the new moon, but new phase of
Mhm.
life, new step forward, you know, endings and beginnings, like literal, you know. I completely can see that because like my resurrection day was around Lionsgate, which was that intense energetic vibration coming down into the world, you know, and that talks about seeing into yourself and healing the deepest of the deep. And
Right.
when you heal the deepest of the deep, then you can move forward. You know what I mean? Clear and acknowledging self. And so this dark moon comes in also in Leo, comes in and plays around, and it says, hey, you're really healing the deepest of the deep. Now
Mhm.
let's take it a step further. Now let's begin again. And
Right.
I love how all of this is during this my resurrection time, during my first house. You know, this is a huge gift because for me it allows me to continue to be self-aware, you know. So the energy of Lionsgate, how did you feel? How were you feeling? It was like, you know, 7:26 to 8:08 is when it really came in, but then the post energy happened until about, I would say 8:15, something like that. How were you
Mhm.
feeling?
I vacillated between being super, super energetic and just unbearably fatigued. Like I was completely out of balance. And, which made me go, okay, why am I feeling like this? What do I need to do? And, basically it's like you have to just check in with yourself, like we were talking about earlier. And I'm not going to be able to do everything in a day
Right.
that I'd like to do, I want to do, and maybe even I should do. It just, there's a finite amount of energy that you have each and every day. And that's what it came down to. And just the anxiety and the uncertainty that's present right now, coupled with the Lionsgate, I think really it was this consistent battle between positive and negative,
Hmm.
and I just had to kind of go with the flow and sit with the negative when I needed to sit with the negative and ride the positive when I could ride the positive. That's basically what happened with me.
For me, I have had since July 26th. What happened to your light?
I think the battery died.
Oh, I was like, God damn, that's really spirit talking to you, girl. Um, you know, when it started, like around the 26th of July, I started receiving dreams. And one of the dreams I received was hugely beneficial to me. It was a releasing dream. And it was, I, I've needed that for a long time. And I've had the same dream over and over again, but it ends at a specific point where I don't get that ending that I'm needing, right? And so finally this dream played out all the way and I received that end that I needed. Obviously I wasn't ready before, but this time I was, and a huge gift, huge gift. So that, you know, my dreams have been doing that quite a bit. And then when Lionsgate really hit, when the 8-8 occurred and the alignment really happened,
Mm-hmm.
I could feel tons of agitation around me, like the energy around me, but I
Mm-hmm.
also felt my bubble protecting me from that energy.
Hey, should we back up a little bit and just explain what Lionsgate is? I'm just realizing that there's probably somebody out there. It's like, what the hell are they talking about?
Well, Lionsgate is this huge energetic factor that has been recorded forever, basically,
Mm.
forever.
Right.
And it is when Orion's belt, the star Sirius,
Mhm.
aligns, all of those things align over the pyramids in Giza. And they call it the Lion's Gate because they align over the Sphinx, and the Sphinx reminds of lion. So they call
Right.
it this Lion's Gate. And one of the energetic factors to this is not just about, going directly into your hearts and allowing you the gift of authentically seeing into yourself. It's a gateway, it's a portal to the heavens, it's a portal to the aliens, it's a portal to space, to our ancestors, all of those different things. It's like a direct doorway to spiritually connect with those beings and receive message, receive downloads, receive healing, receive historical information, things like that. So it's a beautiful, beautiful gateway if you allow yourself to realize when it's coming, feel that flow of energy, and use that flow of energy for beneficial purposes rather than allowing the agitation around it to get
Mhm.
to you. And so I was very lucky that I did know and I did utilize, and that agitation of the world did not get into my bubble. And because I also knew that my first house was coming up, that my resurrection day was coming up, I was in my 12th house and I was preparing like a motherfucker. Like I was getting stuff done, I was getting stuff organized. I'm like, I'm going into this first house this year knowing what's up. And it was such an amazing thing to be able to do. And
Mhm.
so, because of all of that awesome work, this new moon that we just had, my intention, my seeds planting were of self awareness, period.
Mhm.
I
That's great.
want to know more of what I put out into this universe. I
Mhm.
want to know more of myself so I can realize the energies that are being received by other people from me. I want to be self aware, I want to be connected at all times. I want to allow myself to take responsibility for my actions without guilt,
Mhm.
without without beating myself up. Just realize, hey, you did this. Oh, I did. You're right. I'm going to make that right and I'm going to change it.
Yeah, I'm gonna learn from it and move forward.
Exactly, exactly, which we all preach and we all talk about and we all try and practice. But in the
Right.
same token, sometimes we still carry that guilt for years about the thing that got messed up, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
So, what were your seeds that you planted for this new moon?
I actually planted chives.
I love
The physical part. I'm always big about physical action to apply for the more spiritual intentions. Um, and I repotted my poor aloe plant, which I've had to use multiple times already. There's been quite a few kitchen accidents. Hubby got a sunburn too, so we used that. And it just, and it, like a lot of plants, when it gets cut, it charges up and grows a little bit more. So I needed to repot that, and I planted some plants in the north side, some anise mint. It tastes like licorice, and a special rosemary bush in the west garden.
Mm.
And then I also planted intentions, did a little ritual last night. The Viking and I celebrated the new moon last night. We had really good energy between the two of us last night. And we made a little fun little pub dinner for ourselves, and had rum and cokes, and danced around and hung out, and it was good. It was really good. And I just planted the seed of intention that I'm going to make sure that because we're with each other every day, all day, Even though we're in a bigger space now than when we were traveling, it's really important to set a time aside for, maintaining that relationship
Right.
and using it with good energy.
Mhm.
Uh, Relationships don't just happen, you have to work at them.
Every day, girl.
Yeah, and I just felt like on the cusp of the Lion's Gate and with this black moon, new moon, that I wanted to use that energy to infuse into my relationship with my spouse.
Beautiful. I love it. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it. Um, I will tell you that last night was spectacular for me because of all of this energy, because of all of this Leo stuff. And I have Leo ascending, so that's my rising sign. So if you can't tell, um, because of all of that, I have had the hardest time sleeping for like the past couple of weeks. So my
Mm.
sleep has been very, very little. Last night during this amazing moon, girl, I slept so hard. I don't remember a dream.
Oh.
I woke up with eyeball crusties. Like, I mean, I think I might have died a little bit last night in my dream. Apparent in my sleep, but apparently, waking up this morning, hey, I'm rebirthed again. You know what I say? So yay.
Okay, so your rebirth, Country Dwellers is rebirth.
Right? Exactly. Oh, we wanted to talk about okay, so one of the things that we're adding to this, I mean, we're going to be doing different things, I think this time, Runa and I are not really setting a specific what we talk about and stuff, we're just going to have touch points. And one of the touch points today is about your witch's brew. What have you brewed up?
So I have brewed up, I'm making apple cider vinegar.
Lovely.
So you don't need to buy special apples. If you eat apples, you can just throw the cores that you don't eat, seeds and all, everything in there until you fill up a jar about 2/3 of the way. And then just add a tablespoon of sugar
Uh-huh.
and water. And then you just let it sit and ferment, right? You don't have to have the special little fermenting jar like I have. So you can get just a regular ball jar. You can get this little spring, which helps keep the fruit down and brings out more stuff. But I just recently got this. I've always wanted the little fermenting setup like this, but you can just put like a piece of tea towel or
I never knew it was that easy to make.
muslin and just put it over, and then you just let it sit for a couple of weeks. And then once 2 weeks have passed, so this one, I think Saturday I'll have to do maintenance on it. And actually today I'm probably gonna skim off the brown kind of grayish scum off the top. That's the impurities. You don't want that. But you can, in 2 weeks, so for me, that will be Saturday. I'll strain the scraps from the liquid. And then at this point, you should have vinegar, but it's really, really sweet. And it has kind of a cidery smell to it. But it's still missing kind of that tanginess that you get with ACV, as people tend to call it. So you just discard the scraps then, and you keep the, what am I trying to say? The vinegar, and you let the liquid just kind of sit for another 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Strain it one more time, and you're ready to go. So
That's
in
awesome.
total, it takes between 4 and 6 weeks to make, but it's super simple. So if you're doing an apple a day to keep the doctor away kind of thing, just put the scraps in a jar, cover it with water, put a towel with a rubber band over it, or get yourself a little fermenting kit. Literally, they're at the local Kroger for like $5.
I never knew that it was that easy to make. Ever.
It's stupid simple. I will not buy apple cider vinegar. Just like I don't like to buy broth, I make my own.
Right.
I don't like to buy apple cider vinegar. And with me having apples on this, I should get probably like a giant gallon jar
Yeah.
and make it.
Yeah.
And you know, give it away, sell it, whatever. But
I legit never knew it was that easy. I would have been making it.
easy. It's stupid easy. You can't really fuck it up.
Well,
yeah, so just to review, so you know, 2 weeks for me, which will be Saturday, I will take all this debris out, I'll strain it, I'll put it back in the jar, I'll let it sit for a couple more weeks, I'll taste it. If it's got that tang, it's probably ready to go. If it's still too sweet, I'll let it sit a couple more weeks, and then I'll put it in a different jar and keep it. You don't even have to refrigerate it. You can just keep it in the cupboard.
how long does it last?
Forever. It's vinegar.
Oh my. What do you use
It
it on?
doesn't go bad. And you can use it to do a rinse for your hair, for cooking, for cleaning. I mean, it's amazing the uses that you can have with vinegar.
Very nice, dude. I'm making some. I'm going to make some of my own.
I want to see how it turns out.
Yes, you will have to see how it.
I have perfect faith in you that you can do this witch's brew.
Hey, if I'm growing a fucking avocado tree, I think I can do some.
Oh, yeah, you're being successful with that where I am not. And even I got an organic avocado, one that was grown in California, and it's not doing anything. So I think I have to try again, because I think we started that seed right when we moved in here, and it's, you know, been 3 months now and it's not happening.
Yeah. Yeah. It takes it took a month for mine to break open, and then I could see the little sprout in there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then right when you see the sprout in there, when it breaks open, then you put only half of it in the soil so it can keep coming up, you know?
Right.
And then when it fully opened and the tree was up, then I put soil all over it. But it's so pretty. I don't think it's going to ever fruit because number one, I don't know if it's a boy or girl tree. And number two, it has to have,
The canopy.
it has to have its mate to fruit. But you know what? I just am proud of myself that the goddamn thing even opened up and is growing. I tell it every day. I'm like, I'm so proud of you. You're so beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, so avocado is a great example of a fruit that needs a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
So it has to have the canopy, and it has to have friends in order to be its best.
I will tell you this, you know, I'm growing my white sage in pots, and some of my white sage plants, it's so cute. It doesn't matter how I move them, they always find their friend in the other pot.
Yes.
They intertwine with their friend in the other pot. It's really, really cool. I'm like, hey, I put you over here so you could have some space. And then I go in the next day and my sage is like, I don't need space. I need my friend. It's really, really cool how it happens. I'm going to have to take a picture of it one of these days.
I love it.
Another thing that we really wanted to talk about during these podcasts is we want to touch now on a reduce, reuse, recycle. And since you are so amazing at living off the land, and we really are, and doing these things, I want you to tell, I'm going to tell one too, but I want you to tell a little trick on a reduce, reuse, recycle.
So most recently we created a compost bin system, and it's just made out of old pallets. So we called our local hardware store here at, near Villa Westwick, and we said, hey, do you have any old pallets that you could sell us, because a lot of hardware stores will sell them for like $1. And they were like, well, actually, legally, we're not allowed to sell them to you, but we can give them to you.
Oh, wow.
We were like, we'll be right there. So we picked up 8 pallets and set up the system. Let me see if I can find a picture of it real quick. With the 8 pallets, we just screwed them together, made sides of it, because the bottom is the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was Sunday when it was so brutally hot. I actually had to turn the compost and put it into the next section, because making your own soil is one of the most satisfying things that you can do. And the fact that we just reused material that was just going to sit there and maybe end up in a landfill somewhere is amazing to me. Sorry, I'm at the wrong app.
No worries.
But
so how are you with the pallets? I know they have spaces and stuff in them. How are you doing that so the stuff that you put in it degrades and goes back into the earth?
So you want to have about 60-40 or 70-30 brown, what they call brown manure, and green manure. So like all our kitchen scraps, all the leaves on the property, we had a bunch of brush that we had to cut back, and we chipped it, and that went in there. Nice. And what the heck, man?
Obviously you take lots of pictures.
I thought I did. I thought I posted it too, but I'm not.
Like mine. Like I get the alerts that says, hey, most of your memory in your phone is gone because you have 18,000 pictures. Hey, don't you scare that hummingbird, Mr. Spiders. Don't you dare. I got my hummingbird feeder right outside my office window. I absolutely.
Oh, I miss mine so bad. Okay, here it is. Here is the compost.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow.
And then there's, in the picture you can't really see it, but right over here is the last pallet. And what that will allow us to do is store things like maybe we've got a huge barrel full of wood chips that we can use to put on it, or a bag full of leaves or whatever, and it's right there. But that literally, it was a Sunday morning, and we were having coffee and talking about the projects that we have to do here on the property. And I said, I need compost, and we've got everything to make our own, and it's not going to take that long. And when I turned the compost, and he said, well, what do we need? And I said, well, we can make a super easy one from pallets, but I don't know where to source pallets. He made that phone call, and before lunch, we had a compost bin. It was amazing.
I love it.
Absolutely amazing. And 2 weeks later, I already have a little bit of soil to amend to my fall and winter garden.
Good for you. I love it. All those beautiful minerals being put back into the earth.
So yeah, so it's, my eggshells, all our, we're chopping up vegetables and the debris that, a lot of people put in municipal compost, but you can make that work for you. And you don't even have to have as big an operation as I have. If you're like in a little apartment or whatever, you can do the same thing, just on a smaller scale. And there's tons and tons of resources out there to do it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So well, my reduce, reuse, recycle, and you're probably going to laugh, but because I have been organizing my life so much, I use, my son gets boxes of like formula and his meds and things like that.
Yeah.
So instead of just throwing the boxes away, I used the cardboard from the boxes and some packing tape, and I made little dividers for all of my drawers in my desk, so I could divide the things that I needed to divide. And I made a pencil holder, a marker holder, like all that cool stuff. And now it's completely organized. It's not just all over the place anymore.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
I got another one that I'll share for next week too. That's
good.
very
Good. I mean, I was like, oh, dude, I'm gonna do this. And so, and it didn't take me long. It only took me like 30 minutes to create these things, But now my desk drawers are completely organized and I know where everything's at all the time, which is relaxing for me. That helps me relax.
Someone else would have just like at minimal recycle, put it in the municipal recycle for those boxes. And
Exactly.
you made it work for you.
Yeah.
It's like all the apples that are falling off the tree because they're, the tree gets rid of the stuff.
Put them into your compost.
It just goes into the compost. The weeds before they seed that I'm pulling in the beds, they just go in the compost. The eggshells, the coffee ground, all of it. And every couple of weeks, I just turn it. You got to keep it wet when it's dry and loose when it's wet.
Gotcha.
Those are rules. But and now I'm not paying for soil. I'm making my own.
Not only are you not paying for soil, but you're not creating trash.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're creating the least trash possible.
That was one thing when I really, really despised how expensive municipal garbage pickup was.
Because that's one. That's it.
Well, that's part of the reason, but it's robbery. It really is robbery. But at the same time, I understand the people who are working those jobs, they need to be, taken care of well.
Yes.
But there's a lot of abuse there, I think. And so I told the Viking, I said, we're not using it. Not only that, but we have to go like a quarter mile to the street to put our hands, I'm not lying. I mean, it's actually over a quarter mile, but I was like, I mean, so we set up our own kind of trash system, and once a month, we did it yesterday, we go on a dump run and we recycle as much as we can recycle, and our trash is like minimal. Like we had 64 gallons of trash. That was it for a month.
Well, so, I mean, part of that is too, I mean, you guys really trained yourself by living on the sailboat and then in the RV.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You had to make as little trash as absolutely possible.
Oh yeah.
The minimalistic trash. All right. So, because my theme this week is Earth, I wrote a spell that helps one connect to the earth a little bit more, and in the same token, give gratitude towards the earth for that connection. So hopefully everyone likes it. The earth is stable. The earth is strong. She guides me through my rights and wrongs. She helps me root and feeds my growth. To protect her and further build my connection to her heart is my solemn oath. So it is.
So it is.
Did you see my dog go after the singer?
Yes, I started laughing. I'm so sorry.
Don't worry about it. She's like,
it's adorable.
What is that? What is that, mommy? And
that's probably some of those tones. I bet she would respond really well to the dog whistle.
I bought a dog whistle, and so far she looks at it like, what do you want me to do? Am I supposed to do something for this?
Well, certain tones, long, short, a couple of beeps together or whatever, and then you say sit or come, or you have to train them still.
Oh, but I have been taking her outside every day and working on that training. And she's definitely food motivated, so that's what I use.
Oh, there you go. There, I like the dog whistle. Well, I do clicks with my dogs, so I don't have to yell for them. So I just, and they come.
Mm-hmm.
Or I say go. I have hand signals and stuff like that. But I
Yeah.
digress.
I'm learning. She's learning. We're both learning each other, you know. All right, so we're gonna close it out now, yeah?
Yes, we are.
Okay. And I don't necessarily remember our closing, but did you go first or did I go first?
I think I went first. Oh, for goodness sakes. Oh, the circle is open, but
that's
unbroken.
That's
Yeah, that's you. Okay.
okay. All right, ready? The circle is open but unbroken until we meet again, my darlings.
Mary part and blessed be. Bye.
That was it. That was it. A very good recording. That recording is like
Long.